At a university morgue, several medical students are undergoing a test. Their professor is evaluating them to determine how a patient died under mysterious circumstances. After finishing the test, Zoe heads straight to the lab to continue her research on blood samples. Dr. Beeman approaches her and asks her to take a sample from a patient named Max, who has extremely high antibody levels compared to normal humans. Zoe goes to visit Max, and it is clear that she doesn't like him because he constantly tries to flirt with her. Max tries to show his love for Zoe by showing her name carved on his arm. When Max starts touching Zoe, Abby arrives just in time and stops him. After that, Abby invites Zoe to their end-of-semester party, which will be held at the university. Earlier, they had hidden 2 kegs of beer in the morgue, and Abby tells Peter and Zoe to go get them. After picking up the keg, Peter immediately walks away, leaving Zoe behind in the morgue. Just as Zoe is about to leave, Max suddenly shows up and tries to force himself on her. The dead body they were examining earlier suddenly comes back to life and bites Max. Zoe runs to the party and tells her friends what happened, but before they can react, they are attacked by Dr. Beeman, who has turned into a zombie. As the zombies continue attacking, Zoe manages to escape through a window, but Abby is unable to escape and gets attacked by multiple zombies. The movie then jumps forward 5 years into the future. By now, the virus has spread worldwide. The remaining humans are living in a military-controlled bunker in the mountains. Zoe is now the only doctor left and is working on finding a vaccine for the virus. One day, a woman named Wendy approaches Zoe in distress. She tells Zoe that her daughter Lily has a high fever and is not getting better. Zoe checks Lily's condition and realizes that the antibiotics she prescribed are not working. Zoe rushes to find Lieutenant Miguel, the bunker's commanding officer, who is currently in a meeting. Zoe explains that Lily has pneumonia, and if she is not treated immediately, she will not survive. She asks Miguel for permission to go back to her old university lab to retrieve the correct antibiotics for Lily's treatment. However, Miguel refuses, saying that such a trip would put his team's lives in danger. However, he has no choice but to approve Zoe's request. The next day, Miguel assembles a team led by Baca to escort Zoe. Halfway through their journey, their vehicle suddenly breaks down, forcing them to stop and repair it. The surrounding forest feels tense and dangerous, making everyone uneasy. As night falls, they grow more anxious as they are still unable to fix the vehicle. Before they can come up with a solution, they are approached by a massive horde of zombies. Fortunately, Lucy manages to repair the vehicle just in time, and they quickly escape. They manage to reach the medical lab without any problems and successfully collect the medicine. However, things take a turn when Zoe suddenly decides to visit her old research room to collect some of her research materials. While there, she is suddenly chased by a zombie who turns out to be Max. Hearing gunshots, Baca and his squad realize that Zoe is missing. The zombies also start moving toward the sound of gunfire. Luckily, Baca reaches Zoe first, just before the zombies arrive. However, in the chaos of escaping, Frank is bitten. Unable to save him, the team is forced to leave Frank behind. Earlier, when Zoe was running away from Max, she accidentally dropped her hair tie. Eventually, they return to the bunker. When Lieutenant Miguel hears about Frank's death, he is furious and blames Zoe for putting his team in danger. While they argue, they don't realize that a bigger problem is about to unfold. Max, now a zombie, has secretly hitched a ride under their vehicle and managed to enter the bunker without anyone noticing. Once inside, Max sneaks through the air vents, searching for Zoe. At that moment, Zoe is in Lily's room. When she leaves and starts walking down the hallway alone, Max suddenly appears and chases her. Zoe manages to trigger the bunker's alarm, alerting others who rush to help her. She is finally cornered, but surprisingly, Max does not try to bite her. Baca and the others arrive and immediately shoot Max. Zoe realizes that Max could be useful for her research, so she asks them to restrain him instead of killing him. Over the next few days, Zoe studies Max and discovers that some of his organs, like his heart and brain, are still functioning. She attempts to take a blood sample, but in doing so, she has to endure Max's disturbing behavior. Baka later visits Zoe, and she explains that Max's blood contains a special hormone that can stop the virus from spreading. If her theory is correct, his blood could be used to create a vaccine. To confirm her findings, Zoe requests fresh virus samples from other alive zombies. Baka is hesitant, especially since they just lost Frank, but Zoe convinces him. That night, they secretly carry out the mission without Miguel's permission. At first, everything goes smoothly. Zoe successfully collects blood samples she needs. However, they struggle to keep the gate closed as more and more zombies start forcing their way in. During the chaos, Elise is bitten by a zombie, and they are forced to leave Thomas behind, as he is surrounded by zombies too. When Miguel finds out about this unauthorized mission, he is furious. He blames Zoe for her reckless actions that are only reducing the number of his men. He then coldly executes Elise, who had been bitten, right in front of everyone. Miguel then declares that Max will be killed within 12 hours, no matter what happens. Baka, furious with Miguel, confronts him in private. He argues that sacrifices must be made for humanity to survive, and that Zoe's research is the only way to find a cure. However, Miguel grows suspicious of Zoe when he notices Max has her name tattooed on his hand. Feeling betrayed, Baka directly asks Zoe about it. Zoe explains that Max was nothing more than an obsessed man who had a disturbing interest in her. If it weren't for her research, she would have killed him already. As Zoe continues her research, Alphonse and Lucy try to comfort her. However, Lucy makes the mistake of teasing Max, which angers him. Max manages to steal the key to his handcuffs from Alphonse without anyone noticing. Finally, Zoe confirms that Max's blood can be turned into a vaccine that can save those infected by the virus. But just as she makes this discovery, Max breaks free from his restraints and immediately grabs Zoe by the throat. She quickly throws ammonia in his face, forcing him to let go. Zoe escapes, but when the others return to check the room, they find that Max has already vanished, turning the situation into another emergency. As the team searches for Max, they order everyone in the bunker to gather in the main hall for safety. However, young Lily, who was previously sick, has now recovered after taking the medicine given by Zoe. As she wanders through the bunker, she unexpectedly runs into her mother, who has already turned into a zombie. Lily tries to run away, but before she can escape, Max suddenly appears, kills her mother, and takes Lily as his hostage. Zoe finds Max holding Lily captive, and Max explains that his real purpose in coming here is to take Zoe away with him. Max opens the bunker's gates, but as soon as the zombies flood in, Miguel and his team arrive at the scene and engage in combat with the zombies that have invaded the bunker. During the fight, Miguel manages to shoot Max, but at that exact moment, Zoe notices Lily running toward the exit. Without hesitation, Zoe runs out to save her. She finally catches up to Lily, and they hide inside a greenhouse. However, Max eventually tracks them down. After a fierce struggle, Zoe finally manages to kill Max once and for all. Meanwhile, the attack inside the bunker is growing worse. Baka gets bitten by a zombie. Miguel realizes that the situation is out of control, so he decides to shut the bunker's gate before more zombies get inside. Baka, worried about Zoe and Lily, who are trapped outside, tries to stop him. As he and Miguel argue, a zombie suddenly appears and attacks Miguel. Baka decides to reopen the gate to help Zoe and Lily. However, knowing he has been infected, he begins to lose hope and even considers taking his own life. Just in time, Zoe arrives and assures Baka that she can cure him with the vaccine she created using Max's blood. Zoe then injects Baka with the treatment, making him the first person to be successfully cured of the zombie virus. In the final moments of the film, we see that the surviving humans have finally found peace. Each of them has been vaccinated, ensuring their safety from the zombie infection.